supporting you in your dog parenting journey. The Dynamic Dog Owner with Debbie Potter.
Hello and welcome to this week's episode of The Dynamic Dog Owner, the podcast designed to support you, the dog parent, in your dog parenting journey. As you all know, we talk about so many different things on the podcast that are all designed to help you become the most confident, happy, content dog parent you can be. We don't talk about actual training because there's just so much to talk about. And I think we focus on, or we've got two aspects of what we do. Podcast is obviously designed to support the dog parent, help you feel confident and happy and content in your journey. And then we've also got the actual training of the dogs. Two very different things that focus on the two halves of the dog training partnership. So yourself and then obviously your dog. So for actual training, check out the Pawcademy, and this is all about you. So today I'm going to talk about a weird sort of realization I had that I didn't really realize was a thing. And then I made a reel on it, and we actually got hate on the reel, which is great, isn't it? But there you go. And it kind of illustrates my point, that the hate was exactly what I was trying to say was the issue. But there you go. It's irrelevant. So the reel I made a few weeks ago, I was probably about a month ago now, actually, time flies, was a video of me walking Rem, my middle dog, in my work uniform. And basically me saying that it's taken me 10 years of running my own business to feel confident taking my dog out in my work uniform and not changing before I go out for a walk with him. And that's all down to the misconception that people assume my dog should be perfect if I'm a dog trainer. And if my dogs aren't perfect, then I must be a really shit dog trainer. Go figure. It's like saying a teacher should have like Einstein children, or it's like saying a doctor should have really healthy children. Just because of your job, it doesn't actually mean that you're going to be, your situation you're working with is going to be perfect. So that's what we can talk about today. And I think it's a really, really significant topic because it's about confidence, and it's about judgment, it's about misconception. And we've talked about these things on the podcast before, but I just thought it was a real moment in my sort of journey where I went, I don't have to change anymore. That really highlighted that a lot of it is not just about being told, it's about feeling in yourself that you're ready to just go, I don't care anymore. Maybe that's what comes when you get older, I don't know. But obviously, you know, as a dog trainer, I think the problem is, and I find it's actually affected my confidence with my own dogs more. So that sounds really, really weird, but when I was just a dog parent, I didn't care less how my dog behaved. I know that sounds really bad. I did obviously care less, but I didn't care like I do now. So I was more, hey, a dog's a dog. And if I was out and about and my dog did something that maybe he shouldn't have done, I didn't beat myself up about it. I kind of was like, oh, that was a bit naff. I'll work to improve it. I didn't go home going, oh my God, everyone's going to think I'm terrible at my job. And that's kind of where I got to. It's one of those things, I think, they always say knowledge is power, but actually, is it? Because it means you read into every single situation so much more. I do with dogs now. I don't ever just go, I read into stuff, and I be over cautious in terms of like my dog interactions and how my dog behaves. And there is this massive stigma that dog trainers should be perfect with their dogs. And I just think it's so unrealistic and so unfair. And I think it's so narrow-minded, but it affects people, and it affected me quite a lot because my dogs aren't perfect. I've talked about that on the podcast so many times. Check out like previous episodes about like why my dogs aren't perfect, but they're not perfect because as always, what is perfect anyway? Your idea of perfect, my idea of perfect, very, very different. But also, why should they be perfect? They've got struggles that they work through. They're on a training journey, and every dog will struggle with slightly different things. And being perfect means we've ended our training, which is, it's never going to end because there's always stuff to improve and work on. So they're never going to be perfect. But when I became more of a well-known dog trainer, I then kind of, every time I go out, I go, oh, who's watching me? Who goes, oh, that's that woman. Her dog barked. Her dog this. And I started to think that everybody was looking at me and judging my ability to do my job on what my dogs did. Now, I'm not saying my dogs are complete arseholes, because they're not. They're generally pretty good dogs. But 2 of them bark. Why? Because of different reasons. Do I mind them barking? No, because they're expressing themselves and their barking has reduced so much as they've worked through the training and as they feel more confident in themselves, etc. But of course, barking means people turn and look. And then obviously you're getting people's eyes on you. And I assumed that people would then think that because my dogs didn't behave perfectly, that I must be not very good at what I do, which is completely wrong. And I know that, logically, I know that. But it took me so long to overcome the fact that it didn't matter if my dog wasn't perfect. And I think a lot of it comes from the perfect image you get given on Instagram. On Instagram, you get this perfect image of these dog trainers whose dogs literally don't put a step out of line. We'll come on to that in a minute. But it makes people judge people. I don't think they mean to, but people see other people's dogs perfect and therefore assume that they must be doing the right thing, which isn't necessarily the case. But obviously, generally speaking, this has affected my confidence in terms of going out. So I will always go, oh, if it's going to be busy, I don't want to go there because I might see people I know, or people might know me and then they might judge my dogs. So I much prefer walking my dogs on holiday because no one knows me. No one knows who I am, I hope. Maybe they do, oh my God. But hopefully nobody knows who I am when I'm on holiday, and therefore it doesn't actually matter how my dogs behave, because they don't associate me with the business because they're not local. But then I suppose I put out reels and they go quite a long way, and the podcast gets listened to in like 20 different countries. So yeah, oh my God, that's just like literally crashed my bubble there. Maybe people do know who I am when I'm on holiday. Or the occasional person might, I'm not saying I'm that famous, blimey, but somebody might go, oh, I've seen that woman on TikTok or whatever. And if they do, geez, that's scary. Anyway, now I'm not going to be able to walk my dogs on holiday. So I will. But over time, and I think this comes from gaining self-confidence, which is a really hard thing to gain, and developing that who gives a attitude, which I have over the years mastered. It's taken 10 years. Our business is celebrating its 10th year in January. So in January, it'll be 10 years I've been doing this, which seems crazy. But over those 10 years, I have developed enough confidence in my ability, enough confidence in what I do and myself, that I now go, I don't care what you think of me, and I don't care how much you judge me. It's not going to bother me. So before, what would happen is I'd come home from work and I would grab a coat and I'd put it on over my work uniform and make sure the zip was done up. Or I'd change my jumper into a non-work branded jumper. And then take my dog for a walk. I would never have walked my dog in my work uniform because I was embarrassed or I was worried that people would see what I was doing with my dog and judge me. Now I don't care. And I just do it without even thinking. And I say it only came to me a couple of months ago that I now do that. And I hadn't noticed the shift. So it was quite interesting. And I say the reason I think that this kind of becomes apparent is it kind of builds onto the sort of methods and styles of training, etc. We, obviously, if you know, because you listened before, you'll know that we focus heavily on dogs being able to be dogs, having time to travel through their journey. We don't use fear, intimidation, aversive tools, etc. It's all about positive learning experience and gaining dogs' trust, building a relationship and helping them to grow. Therefore, we don't focus on the result. We don't focus on perfection or a dog looking perfect. We focus on the journey that you have been on, the progress you have made, the consistency and the patience that you've shown your dog to get those results. It's the journey that we go on, hence we call it a dog parenting journey, that is important, not the instant result that is obviously there on social media quite often. This is whether it's whatever we're working on, whether it's a puppy, whether it's an adolescent dog, whether it's a reactive dog, loose sleep walking, you're not going to fix it in one session. So everything you see on social media or even on the telly, where a dog appears and it's absolutely, really naughty, misbehaving, owners are taking their hair out, and then after half an hour or a 1 minute video on social media, wow, look, they're magically fixed. It's not real life. We all know that, but why do we still expect it to be real life? This is where our training method is different. We don't just show result, we show the journey. I don't expect perfection. I don't want perfection. And I always think you never know what else is going on. So as I always say to people, and I probably said it on the podcast before, is that you only see a snapshot in time, and what you see isn't necessarily the whole picture. So for example, in training classes, you might go, oh God, look at that dog's recall. That's amazing. Wish my dog was like that. But you don't see that they've been coming here for 3 years and they've worked on it. And when their dog was your dog's age, it was awful, but they've overcome it. You don't see my dog, for example, who looks beautifully well behaved, walking down the street, easy, calm, chill. You don't see him when he gets home and goes, oh my God, that was really hard. And then all his emotions come out. So you only see the bits you see. But there's so many things where the journey is important. For example, a year ago, my dog was doing X, Y, Z. Now they're only doing Y and Z, no X. It's a massive improvement and it's steps in the right direction. And that's why I say our sort of mission here is not perfection. I don't want a perfect dog because that would be downright boring. But I do want a happy dog. I want a happy dog owner. I want progress and I want confidence and feeling happy in what they're doing in their journey. It's the importance of, working with each family's individual personality and needs and each dog's individual needs. So, judgment is a big thing. You don't know what else is going on in someone's life. They may be accepting that behavior right now because we've actually just made massive goals somewhere else. And like, for example, with Rem's journey, occasionally people see him and he'll be laying down and he'll see a dog and he'll hit the deck. What they don't know is that a few years ago, he would have done that for hours. If there was a dog like spot in the distance, the whole time they'd walk towards us, I wouldn't have been able to refocus him. Now he does it and I can refocus him in like short space of time. Yes, it's not perfect because he still has those emotions. He's just worked through them and overcome them and is now able to get rid of them and shake them off a lot quicker. So there's so many different ways we can see progress, and it's not through perfection. It's through knowing where they started, the journey they've been on and where they are now and where they want to get to. That's the important bit. It's not about success. I don't care about success. I don't care about perfection. I care about progress and people being happy and confident. And that's why we're really, hot on the journey. For the years I've built confidence in a trainer because I now have lots of evidence behind me to say I've helped people's lives, which is good. And I mean, the biggest thing, the scariest thing is, when you first post on social media, you do get hate. I get a lot of hate comments or I disagree with you or a load of rubbish. That's fine. Don't worry about it. It used to bother me. First time I got a hate comment, I deleted the post and I was like, oh my God, no, someone didn't like it. And I took the whole post down. And I was like, oh, how can I post content now that doesn't annoy anyone? And that's what I focused on for years. Anytime there was a bad comment, I'd delete it or delete the thing. Now, I kind of look at it and go, actually, it's not the post. It's not the comment that's the issue. It's my response to it. And I see negative comments as actually being really positive because A, it actually boosts the algorithm. So your post actually gets more viewings if you get negative comments. But it's how I respond to that and how I can counteract it that's the important thing. And now it's just water off a duck's back. Don't care about negative comments anymore. Doesn't bother me at all. And partly that's just come from me feeling confident in what I'm doing. But the main thing really is that you don't know from the results you see online, you don't know how dog trainers have got those results. So obviously we're very much of an era on social media where you go, I want my dog to do that. So say, for example, your dog is reactive and they're barking at every dog they see, and you see a video where someone fixes it in 30 seconds and suddenly your dog isn't all right. You go, my goodness, that's amazing. I want to do that. But you don't actually see how they got that result and how they got it that quickly. And often, not saying always, but often a quick result, there has to be a big impact. And usually that big impact is fear, intimidation, pain. Those are the things that then make a big impact because they're a big emotion for dogs. So I'm not saying everyone does this on social media by any means, but I'm just saying it is a common knowledge that to get instant results, you normally have had to use aversive methods, because rarely will our methods work overnight. They will certainly help you see progress and improvement overnight, but it's not going to fix it overnight because it's a journey. So on social media especially, or when you're seeing someone out and about or seeing a person, a dog trainer, instant result doesn't necessarily mean they're a good dog trainer. It actually just means they have a well-behaved dog. Their dog is different to your dog. My dog is different to their dog. They could just have an easy dog. And I always say to people, Rem's loose lead walking. It's easy. It always has been. He was born like it. Have I worked hard on his loose lead walking? No, because I haven't had to, because he's always walked by my side. So that doesn't show me as being a good dog trainer, because my dog can walk by my side, because he could already do it and it was easy. What shows me as being a good dog trainer is my dog who couldn't do it and found it really hard, and I have been on the journey with him to improve it. I could have just whacked a aversive device on him and made him do it, but he wouldn't be very happy, and neither would I be. So success and progress that you see out and about doesn't equate to good dog trainer. And this is something I'm really passionate about, that just because you see something and it looks good, it doesn't mean it's good. You have to look at the why. Where were they to begin with? What journey have they been on? What treatment have they had? What approach have they used? And how have they got those results? I would much prefer to see a misbehaving, not that they're misbehaving, but a dog that looks to other people like they're misbehaving, but is working through a wonderful journey to help them overcome it, than a instantly well-behaved dog who's having to go through not very nice training or not very nice methods to get there. So it's not the perfection that matters. And this is why now I don't care about what people think about me when I'm out in my uniform with my dogs, because I know that I am doing the training that I see as being ethical and kind towards dogs. I don't want perfection because I don't need it, quite simply. And I suppose it's kind of just pointing out also that, if you do see perfection, just ask yourself, how and why are they getting the results? Because the how they're getting them is very, very, very important, because it helps you understand the journey that they're going on and whether it's a journey you want to follow or not. So anyway, going off on a little tangent, being confident in the approach that you're taking is really important to help you feel confident when you're out. Learning and understanding what you're doing, why you're doing it, how it works is really, really important. And being part of a community that boosts you and builds you will help build your confidence. I now know, because my clients tell me, that my dog not being perfect, or any of my dogs not being perfect, actually they prefer, because so many people have come to us and said, oh, well, previous people I've worked with, their dog was perfect and I always felt like mine wasn't good enough, or they made this image that their dog was perfect and it made me think they'd never struggled. me showing that my dogs aren't perfect, and that's why I talk about it all the time, because they're not, is I feel like dog trainers are put on this pedestal where they're amazing and their dogs are perfect and, you know, everything's easy because they're a dog trainer. It's not. It really isn't. We just know how to work through things a little bit, and we can overcome the issues a little bit more because we've had experience in them. But having a challenging dog makes my clients be more in tune with me. They know that I understand where they're coming from because I've been there myself. They know that I am not judging them on my own standards of perfection, or expecting their dogs to do what I think is right. We work on what they need and what they want, and being able to see us struggle with something and work through it actually helps them to resonate with us, feel understood and feel compassion, and actually help and support more. So it's actually a really good thing that my dogs aren't perfect. And I think it's important. And that's why when I'm out and about, if you see me ever, my dogs will not be behaving perfectly, because A, they're dogs, they're not robots. And B, we're still on a journey, and I never will and never have said that my dogs are perfect, and I never expect them to be, because there's always stuff to work through. The main difference, that's why coming back to the point of the podcast, is that now I accept that, and I am confident enough to say that I don't care and I don't want my dogs to be perfect. And if you judge me on perfection, then you're just not right for me. If you want a perfect robotic dog, if you're judging me and my ability to train on the perfect dog, then you're not the right person for me. And that's absolutely fine. There's nothing wrong. We're never going to be right for everyone. And our methods are never going to be right for everyone. And that's absolutely fine. But it's about having confidence, and that does take time. But it also has to be the right environment for you to feel confident to grow. So, random topic really, but it has taken me 10 years to go out with my dogs in my uniform. It's taken me, now I used to, so another tidbit, on Instagram, I used to only put the perfect shots on. So my dog is doing something I'd like them to do in the background perfectly. Now I post all the fuck ups, because that's real life. My dogs are going to make mistakes, and I don't care. We're on a journey, and as long as we're having fun together, and as long as we're enjoying our life together, and there's no big issues, we're all good. So it may take you as a dog owner, or some dog professionals who are listening to, it may take you time to gain this confidence and to feel confident enough to not care about what other people think, and to feel confident in your abilities and what you're doing. But you will get there, and having a supportive community is the most important thing that you can have, to help you, feel like you've got your group of people. So obviously, if you have ever felt not confident taking your dog out, think about ways you can try and build your confidence up, walking with someone, being part of a community, not caring, and remembering you're on a journey. We don't want perfection. We just want some progress, no matter how small that is. Hopefully you found today's episode useful. And hopefully me sharing my confidence journey, that I now can walk my dogs in my uniform, is useful to you. If you would like to be part of our community, obviously you are already part of it, you listen to the podcast, but do like, share, comment on the podcast, so that other people can benefit from it too. Head over into our Facebook group, Potter Paws Community. And if you're looking for dog training tips, advice, support, exercises, programs to work through, check out the Pawcademy. Have a great week, and I will speak to you very soon.
Thank you for listening to The Dynamic Dog Owner with me, Debbie Potter. See you next time.